Hi everyone, welcome back to Stag Voiceover. My name is Neil Glasgow. So this is part 3 of my 3-part series into configuring Reaper for Voiceover. What I'm going to run you through here is actually cutting your professional demo. If you can't get access to a studio or you can't get someone to do it for you, I'm going to teach you how to make it at home and make it sound high quality and professional. So what we'll see here is I've loaded a track that I've recorded for one of my clients, and actually I think it might sound quite good as part of my demo. So what we're going to go over, if you haven't seen any of the previous videos, is some of the editing elements. Now this file has already been edited for mistakes. I'm going to run you through the final part of the editing process. So I'll click on Dynamic Split, and then I'll elongate my room tone and move it up into my main file. And once I've done that, I will hit Ctrl A to select all and Ctrl G to merge it all together. I'll then normalize just to make sure, again, to -3 dB. So that works well. That's exactly as I want the file to start off as. So now what we're going to do is just check a couple of the settings are already as we wanted them. So we'll navigate to our room tone and we'll click on FX. And when you open up, you're going to see that we're in Music Comp. The ratios are different, the threshold is different for our compression, but most importantly, we have the auxiliary L and R. As I said in previous videos, that's the really important bit, and we're going to find out why in this video. Now I'll just play you a little bit of the audio so you get a feel for what it sounds like and the type of delivery that the client was going for. The world is changing, giving us more challenges, but also more choices. The future is ours to create for our families, our communities, our planet. Now is the time to look forward, to take control, to act, to step forward, not sit back. So what we're going to do now is actually insert some music. Now I've already selected the music piece that I want to use. I got that from a platform called Storybox. It's a subscription service. Feel free to go and take a look at it. There are many other subscription services on the market. That's just the one that I use. So I first want to highlight my room tone or my track 2. Then I'm going to go to Insert. And once I've done that, I'll select Insert Media. I'll then go to my downloads where I've selected the piece of music that I've downloaded from Storybox, and I'll insert it into the main track. Now, as you can see here, that's quite a large file. And I'll just play you what it sounds like as it comes into the station. The world is changing, giving us more challenges, but also more choices. The future is ours to create for our family. So what you heard there was the track at its base volume, essentially, what it comes into the platform. And as you can see from the red, it's too loud. It's actually going over my clipping ratio. So that's something that we need to address first off. So we highlight that track, and then again, Control, Shift and N, and we select that to be -3 dB, which again puts that into the same volume level as the rest of the track. We'll play again. The world is changing, giving us more challenges, but also more choices. The future is ours. So that sounds a little bit better. It's more in line with the volume, but the music's still too loud over the vocal track. So that's what we're going to address now. So we come down here to this section, and what we're going to do is select it and drag it over. And what you'll see is a little plug-in section, and we want to drag it into the next box. And when you're in there, you want to have audio input as 1 and 2, and then output as 3 and 4. That's the critical stage. The 3 and 4 is the auxiliary output that we saw in the room tone FX. Let's take a listen now. The world is changing, giving us more challenges, but also more choices. The future is ours to create. So it's still a little bit loud, so again what we can do on the track 2, the room tone, is we can actually adjust that volume down a little bit more. So we have normalised it, that's going to stay the same, but I'll reduce that volume down a bit and see what impact that makes. The world is changing, giving us more challenges, but also more choices. The future is ours to create. For our families, our communities, our planet. Now is the time to look forward, to take control, to act, to step forward, not sit back. Now is the time for leaders, driven by ambition and guided. So that's sounding a lot better to me, and what you'll notice is because we've now inputted audio 1 and 2 and an outcome of 3 and 4, that means that when I speak, the music will lower itself so that it allows the vocal track to take precedence. And in any negative space, the quiet spaces, the music is then lifted up again, and it will create a consistent tone and sound throughout your whole track. That's what you're aiming for, and by having the presets that we set up in videos 1 and 2, that makes this really simple to do and quick going forward. Okay, so now what we're seeing here is we've got quite a long bit of the track that sounds the same, and what we really want to do is build that a little bit towards the end. So I'm going to play you the latter part of the track now. So where that starts to build to a crescendo, I quite like that bit. So what I need to do is cut up the music bed a little bit to better fit what I'm recording. So to get the bit that I want, I'm really going to have to start chopping out bits. So if I highlight this section here, what I'll do is I'll select it, Control Shift, and then I'll hit delete. And as you see, that will ripple edit the track together. So let's have a little listen now. Act. To step forward, not sit back. Now is the time for leaders, driven by ambition and guided by outcome. Now, if you listen closely, you'll hear that it doesn't quite sound right on the music bed. We're going to need to do a little bit of editing on that. So let's just take a quick look. Ambition and guided by outcome. If I just mute the vocal track, we'll hear what the music bed sounds like. So I'm just going to elongate the fade on either side to help it have a bit more of a natural sound and see if that works. That'll need a quick amendment here perhaps. No, it's still too aggressive, so let's try the other way. And the key bit here is to be able to play about with it a little bit until it sounds fairly natural to your ear. There's no set way to do this, it really depends on the music choice that you have, but this shows you that you can really play about with it and get the results that you need. And what you hear now is when I add in the vocal track, any blemishes that are left from my edits are really difficult to hear, and actually anyone listening to this for the first time are never going to notice it. Now is the time for leaders, driven by ambition and guided by outcomes. Now is the time for creative minds, with the space to think and the freedom to act. Working together, we can face... So as you'll see here, I've actually clipped. It doesn't look like I've clipped on the audio track, but as you can see there, I'm going into the red. So that's a really easy fix. All I need to do is highlight this section, Control S to split it out, and at the top you can actually drag from a little slider and you can individually make that section quieter. So I'll just play it to make sure that it sounds okay. Act. And when I'm happy with that, I can move on. We'll glue it all together a little bit later. Act. Working together, we can face uncertainty with conviction. Grasp opportunity with confidence. Together, we can create the future we want. M&G Investment. Let's create. So again, I have this crescendo that I'm trying to get to by the end, and really from about this section here is where I want it to really start to build. So there's some more editing that I need to do on this musical piece. And with this piece, what I can see from the waveform is they have a section that almost repeats, which means I've got a really easy edit ahead of me because it's going to sound fairly natural. So let's see how that sounds. Freedom to act. Working together, we can face uncertainty with conviction. Grasp opportunity with confidence. Together, we can create the future we want. M&G Investment. Let's create. So I'm really happy with that. I think that sounds good. I think the crescendo hits the notes that I want it to hit. So I'll edit out the rest of the music, which is as simple as just scrolling to the end of your vocal track, selecting that timestamp, hitting S to split and hit delete. That gets rid of it. Then the last bit that you're going to want to do is actually add a fade into your music track so that it starts to dip out once the track is done. You'll want to do this if you're going to use this track for your demo, and I'll demonstrate that in a little moment. So once we're happy, we need to do the final mastering. So select all with Control A, and again glue with Control Shift and G. And just as the last check, again Control Shift and N brings up our normalization, and I'll put that to -3. Shouldn't make a difference, but just in case, I like to just do this step one more time. So let's just check it once through to make sure that it hits all the beats that we want it to, it sounds the way that we want it to, and actually just as another check to make sure that this is the right musical composition for the vocal that you're laying down. The world is changing, giving us more challenges, but also more choices. The future is ours to create for our families, our communities, our planet. Now is the time to look forward, to take control, to act, to step forward, not sit back. Now is the time for leaders, driven by ambition and guided by outcomes. Now is the time for creative minds, with the space to think and the freedom to act. Working together, we can face uncertainty with conviction. Grasp opportunity with confidence. Together, we can create the future we want. M&G Investment. Let's create. Great, so I'm really happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is navigate up to File, down to Renders, and then under Renders, I'm just going to double check that all my settings are the way that I want them to be, which they are. They're on mono. That's how you want it to record. But I'm going to put this onto a WAV file and hit render. The reason I'm going to have it on a WAV file is I'm going to show you what it's like to cut a full demo, and a WAV file allows you to customize your audio a little bit more. MP3s are what you're going to send out to clients as demos, but for this stage, put it in a WAV file so that we can amend it later. Okay, so now that I've put that together, what I've put into this track is the track that we've just rendered and mastered, along with several other tracks that I've already done and added music too that I think might work in a commercial demo that I'll send out to various clients, agencies and that sort of thing. So I've added in as the primary the first track that I want my new clients to hear as the one that we've just done. So just as a quick refresher, I'll listen to the first 10 seconds or so just so I can have that tone and that delivery in my mind. That's going to be really important when I'm listening to the other samples because I don't really want anything to sound the same on this commercial demo. The world is changing, giving us more challenges, but also more choices. Now, what you'll see here is I've got a little bit over 2.5 minutes of audio, and that's about a minute too much for a commercial demo. Your commercial demo, or any demo really, should be no more than 90 seconds. People just aren't going to listen to it, and actually if you're sending a file out that's more than 90 seconds, the file size itself is going to be a bit prohibitive for some people. So 90 seconds is where you're trying to hit. Now my first track is over a minute long, so I'm going to need to listen and figure out a good point to cut that still gives me what I want from it, but doesn't mean that my entire first clip is a minute long, because again, that's not what you're looking for. Working together, we can face uncertainty, driven by ambition and guided by outcomes. Now is the time for creative minds, with the space to think and the freedom to act. Working together. So I quite like this part here to actually end on. I think it gives me enough of the delivery and the style that I'm looking for without getting to the final crescendo element, and actually it doesn't give the client name away at the end as well, which I quite like doing in my demos. I don't like to highlight the particular clients that I have worked for. I want to be selected based on the sound and delivery rather than just the previous client. So I'll give this another quick listen and see if the fades that I've put in work with the next track. So let's have a little listen now. Guided by outcomes. Now is the time for creative minds, with the space to think and the freedom to act. Some days are bigger than others. So I like that, so I'll move on to the next segment of that track, which again is nearly a minute long. So again, I need to pare this back. Some days are bigger than others. You get your coffee, check the news, jump in the car. Let's listen to the next track and see what it's delivering and decide which tracks that I'm potentially going to remove or edit down. What happens when you have to choose between paying for heat or for food? What happens when you... This is Ben. Ben is an influencer and gets thousands of likes for every post on social media. Also, he has never suffered a day in his life. Not everything is as it seems. So these two sections here, I think, have a similar tone, and I don't think that works with what I'm trying to create. So actually, my instinct is to remove them. The world is a diverse place with people having diverse sets of challenges. We believe that your physical happens when you have to choose between paying for heat or for food. The world is a diverse place with people having diverse... Once upon a time, there were 3 little Tony boxes. Each Tony box couldn't wait to come to life with the help of their little explorers. Challenges. We believe that your physical challenges should explorers. Oh, and of course, with the help of their special friends, the Tonys. So that brings me down to about a minute 40. Now I need to find about 10 to 15 seconds to get it to that 90-second mark. So I'll just add in my crossfades don't forget to do that.
To act. Some days are bigger than others. You get your coffee, check the news, jump in the car, and allow plenty of time in case the traffic's bad. But for all your preparation, ultimately, you're going to have to make a big decision. Is big decision.
So just there, on the word decision, I think that might be a good place to end that particular track. I think, again, the delivery still gets across the message that I'm looking for. So that works, so I'll move on to the next track. And there's some obvious bits that I can save just with gaps. Make a big decision. This is Ben. Ben is an influencer and gets thousands of likes for every post on social media. Also, he has never suffered a day in his life. Not everything is as it seems. The same applies for community masks. Always check for the... And again, here, I think there's a piece that I can cut out from community masks. I don't think it needs the rest of that to get the message across, so I just need to find the right piece and cut that out. Always community masks. I'll just test that I'm not cutting off any of the word that I want for masks, and I'll make sure my crossfades work as well. Masks. One. Masks. Once upon masks. Once upon a time. Okay, so the last piece, I'm at 1 minute 34, but I still need to save some time. Masks. Once upon a time, there were 3 little Tony boxes. Each Tony box couldn't wait to come to life with the help of their little explorers. Oh, and of course, with the help of their special friends, the Tonys. Masks. Once upon a time, there were 3 little Tony boxes. Each Tony box couldn't wait to come to life with the help of their little explorers. Oh! So again, I think from about here, that's a good place to cut it. I think, again, it still gets that message across without having to finish off the advert, as it were. Just add in my crossfade and see how that sounds. Couldn't wait to come to life with the help of their little explorers. I'll test it just to see if I can have a little bit more in there, if it works. Couldn't wait to come to life with the help of their little explorers. Oh! And it doesn't. It makes it sound a bit off. So I was right the first time. I'm going to take it back. Couldn't wait to come to life with the help of their little explorers. Oh! Explorers. Explorers. Okay, so once I've done that, I need to glue it all together. So again, Control A, Control Shift G, glues it all together. Then I want to just make sure that everything is at the same level. So again, Control Shift N, normalize to -3. Now I'll just give it a quick run through for continuity and see if it's got the variations and delivery styles that I'm looking for. Time for creative minds, with the space to think and the freedom to act. Some days are bigger than others. You get your coffee, check the news, jump in the car, and allow plenty of time in case the traffic's bad. Okay, so I'm happy with that now. So we'll navigate to File, down to Render, check the settings, and now that I'm ready to finish this, to be able to send off as my demo, I want to change this back to be MP3. Hit Render, and we're good to go. And that's it. You've now cut your first professional demo. This is a good technique to use whenever you're putting together your own demos if you can't access anyone to put a demo together for you. As long as you follow these steps, you should be in a really good position to create something really high quality and professional sounding. I hope this has been helpful. If you've liked it, drop me a like. If you've really liked it, drop me a subscribe. Do all the usual YouTube stuff. I really do appreciate it. It genuinely does help the channel out. Remember, you can absolutely be a voiceover artist. I'll see you in the next video.